Well, it's time for our deer hunting rules in September. Finally, the season is beginning in a lot of states, and like you, I can't wait to get out in the woods. We have a lot of excitement with the new land, the old land in Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin opens on the 12th, Minnesota opens on the 19th, and you can bet we can't wait to get in the woods. I can't wait to go hunt the old property, but we're getting a lot of giants here in Minnesota on the property, and we're hoping to keep those bucks. And so September, we're always looking for the whitetail shift. And what that means is in Wisconsin, I'm waiting for mature bucks to come on that property in this end of September and October. It's a true hunting season property, fall property where we have fall food, fall cover. It's one of the better fall cover parcels in the area. In Minnesota here, we have some good fall cover, but we have not had good fall food in the past, the previous landowner going into the fall. So now we have lots of corn, we have lots of, it's all annual fall crops. And then we have the switchgrass borders. We're entering and exiting different areas so that we can try to take advantage of movement without spooking deer. And we're looking in September to actually capture deer movement, and we're using the cameras to do so. And that's the number one rule, is really paying attention to that whitetail shift and finding out if you have a property where you need to make more changes on going into the fall so you actually attract fall movement. Now the opening day bow season. You know, again, ours is the 12th in September in Wisconsin, 19th in Minnesota. Last year, I didn't hunt my Wisconsin properties till the end of September. The weather was not that great. I didn't want to go apply pressure to the land just because it was opening day. It's crazy how much deer react to opening day and the pressure that's applied, especially if it's a long day weekend. And if it's a warm weekend and the weather's not great, I don't see the bucks that are moving that I want to yet. We're using the render cell cameras, using trail cameras. We're looking for sign, looking traditional sign where we expect that we scouted a buck from last year. We're seeing that sign pop up. We know he's around whether we get a picture of him or not. The pictures are great, the trail cameras, for making sure that they're there. But bottom line is, should your opening day be actually opening day, or should it be after when you see those great weather events coming? We use HuntCast from HuntWise. That's my algorithm that I helped develop, that I published in Outdoor Life 2015, but that's something that I've used and how I've studied the weather and hunting the weather for 30 years, so it's very proven. But bottom line is, I'm making sure the weather's telling me when to hunt, so I'm not blowing out my stands. And it's not to say you don't go hunt on opening day, maybe hunt off to the side. Maybe find that stand that you can get in and out, an observation stand, maybe you have a chance at some early summer movement. And bottom line, when I'm hitting that stand early, number two, I'm focusing on an evening hunt. Now, it's not to say that you can't find a great hunt back in a bedding area, especially some of those bedding areas for around here, for example. We have some long points where there's a food plot off to the side or ag field. We can get in on that point, maybe a long point or a long funnel, swamp edge, drop off somewhere on public land where you can get into an area where you feel bucks are bedding and it's a long ways off from his food source. You beat him back there. It's a cool morning. He's coming in. Great way to hunt, but you don't want to take a morning chance at random movement at a great evening set that's been highly predictable, showing bucks that have been feeding the same way all summer long. You're getting in there early and you're tapping into that evening hunt, and that can be an incredible opportunity. Make sure you don't go out in the morning to spook out the chance at a highly predictable evening hunt on a buck that's been doing the same thing all summer long right by your tree stand. Now, number three, you have to avoid the temptation of more rut stands. For example, this right here, we have our mock scrape, been getting good movement by Negan. He's an older buck, we think he's 6. The landowner has, previous landowner actually a picture of him 2 years ago, disappeared last year. We've been seeing him quite a bit this year. And this camera right here has been showing a lot of activity of Negan. He walks on the same trail. Dylan even noticed the one time he looked out to the field, and then he just kept walking straight, kind of like, no, this is my lane. This is where I'm supposed to go. So we set up a stand. You can imagine, I can't wait to hunt this stand. In fact, I can't wait for Diane to hunt this stand. I think she's gonna love it. You can see the stand right up there. It's a stand we just set a little while ago. Lots of branches around it, leaves. It'll be hidden in. And because of this stand location, I'm going to be hunting this stand during the pre-rut and rut. When you see this food plot right here, clear out. So when this food plot is clear of deer, we can stand behind the corn back there. We can watch out here. When there's nothing here, we'll come straight into the stand right after daybreak, and we can slip in here and then watch the cruising movement that takes place right on the inside of the woods here. We're looking at 25, 30 yard shots at deer that wouldn't be going out into this field because it's in the open light. This is not an early season stand. We have to avoid the temptation of going in here. A lot of my best rut cruising stands, those hunts, 75% of my deer that I shoot are in the morning hours. Stand like this will be an incredible opportunity. But if I start blowing this out in September and October before those good days come, that movement's not going to be here when it comes to the pre-rut and rut. So you have to avoid the temptation this time of year of using a tried and true and highly predictable rut stand and going in there too early just because it's your favorite stand or one that you can't wait to sit in. You can imagine I can't wait to sit in this stand, but I have to avoid that temptation. Number 4, deer are focused on that food source. Mature bucks are focused on that green food source every single afternoon. When they're focused on that food source, a lot of those mature bucks, they might be coming in a half hour, hour after dark. That's telling you, he's telling you, hey, when it's a cold night and the temperature's dropped, there's been an extreme weather event that's gone through, and I'm hungry, I missed some feedings because this high wind and extreme weather kept me back in my bedding area, then I can't wait to go hit that green food source. He's telling you that. So wait for that temperature change, recognize those evening hunting movement locations, and get in there when that weather has told you that he's going to be hungry. And what's interesting, you'll find that buck that's a half hour, hour after light, he's all of a sudden a half hour before dark on those cold front evenings. HuntCast will tell you when that is. And number 5, you're focusing on those evening food sources. Don't blow out the food sources. I look at it like if you can't imagine the 20 deer rule, meaning 20 deer out in the field and you can get in and out of your stand without spooking them, it's probably not far enough away from that food source. You can't afford to make mistakes this time of year on food source movement that you can destroy in an evening or two. You know, a lot of people, it gets into the October lull. The October lull begins a few days after the season begins, and that could be in September or October. It depends on when your opener is. Michigan, October 1st, the October lull probably begins on the October 5th, because the October lull is especially mature bucks' reaction to the application of hunting pressure. That could happen in the middle of September, it could happen anywhere. When acorns are falling, end of September and October, a lot of people look at it, they're not hitting the food plots, they're not out in the green fields anymore. It's not because they don't want green. In fact, when they feed on dry acorns that are hard to digest all day, they can't wait to hit that green and wash it down. The problem is there's been too much hunting pressure applied to those food plots and early season food sources. They're just not going into those areas of applied hunting pressure until after dark. It gives the illusion they don't want to hit greens when the acorns are dropping, when just the opposite. But again, they're going to react negatively to hunting pressure, and a lot of times that hunting pressure lasts for the entire season. So remember those 5 rules. It's all about timing, making sure you're hitting those evening food sources, avoid the temptation of hitting those rut stands that you should be waiting until the end of October, early November, and make sure, although you should be hunting those evening food sources, that you're doing it so that you're thinking about the next hunt, the next week and beyond, so that you can actually hunt low risk, unpressured deer. It's crazy how deer will relate to one 40-acre parcel that has a low application of hunting pressure, and they're there during the daylight, and just across the fence over to neighbors 200 yards away, they won't step foot on that land until after dark because of that hunting pressure. Let the deer recognize your property as the evening food source that they can safely hit with an assumed lack of hunting pressure, because your property will be one of the few properties, I call them the 5% properties in the entire neighborhood, and you're going to have an outstanding hunt, not only this early season with these September rules and these September openers, but all the way through the end of the season. It's a marathon, not a sprint, folks. Enjoy September. It's time to get in the woods. I'm excited. I can't wait, and I can't wait to hear about it. Well, if you made it to the end of this video, you're obviously interested in Whitetail Habitat Solutions, what I have to teach, and you will love my new web class series. The first one is how to design your whitetail property. It's out now. The link is in the description. I invite you to check it out. It's on my website. Can't wait to hear about it.